Okay, good morning, everyone. Great to see everyone here. I see we have a full house. Before I call this meeting to order, I'll note for the record I will serve as acting chair for today's meeting. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the New York State Urban Development Corporation, doing business as Empire State Development for Thursday, March 28th, 2019. As noted on the agenda posted to the internet, we welcome public comment. 4 minutes if you're representing a group, 2 minutes if you're speaking on behalf of yourself. I'll now ask directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the items on the agenda. As always, the directors have received their written materials in advance and are free to ask questions at any time. The first item on today's agenda is approval of the minutes of the February 21st, 2019 Board of Directors meeting.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay. Kathleen Mize will begin by presenting an item relating to the corporation's annual operating budget. Kathleen.
Thank you and good morning. In compliance with state finance law, request is being made to approve the fiscal 2019-20 annual operating budget in the amount of approximately $77.1 million, which includes operating costs associated with the administration of the many economic development programs administered by ESD, including but not limited to regional economic development councils, the Minority and Women-Owned Business Division, the Life Sciences Initiative, the Buffalo Billion Initiatives, and support provided to certain subsidiaries. Personal services expenses of approximately $49.9 million support both new and continuing essential economic development initiatives for the state, including those previously mentioned. As noted in the operating budget provided, the cost of fringe benefits is also included in personal services expenses and remains consistent with the prior fiscal year. Non-personal services expenses of approximately $18.1 million reflect certain cost increases primarily related to consultant costs required for 2 new federally funded innovation technology grants awarded to ESD's NISTAR division. IT needs and improvements is required for business operations and new program-related software. Other post-employment costs of $5.6 million represents ESD's continued compliance with Government Accounting Standards Board Statement Number 45 that requires government entities to record a provision for post-retirement expenses other than pensions in each fiscal year. The $1 million increase is reflective of required changes in actuarial valuations. As noted in the materials provided, approval is also being requested for approximately $3.5 million of operating support to certain ESD subsidiaries, $1.3 million for Erie Canal Harbor Development, $1.4 million for Harlem Community Development, $0.1 million for Queens West Development, and $0.7 million for USA Niagara. It is anticipated that eventually these outlays of ESD resources will be repaid by each of the subsidiaries. Approval is also being sought for the fiscal year 2019-2020 non-programmatic capital expense authorization in the amount of approximately $4.4 million. These funds will support plans to continue and complete the upgrade of ESD's financial management system, invest in technology to improve data and IT asset protection, broaden and replace IT infrastructure to provide business continuity and disaster recovery capabilities, and continue support and license renewal of the entity-wide Microsoft Dynamics Customer Relations Management System. If changes are required to ESD's operating budget after the adoption of the state's fiscal year 2019-20 budget, a revised version will be presented to the directors for approval. The ESD Audit and Budget Committee has reviewed the budget and recommends approval. To be fully compliant with state finance law, the corporation's active subsidiaries will also be presenting both operating and capital budgets to their respective boards. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Kathleen. Any questions from the directors for Kathleen? Is there anything in the budget, Kathleen? We've been doing budgets together for 4 years, and you've been doing it a little longer than that here at ESC. Anything unusual at all, or out of the ordinary, or anything that should, people should be aware of as it relates to sort of standard way we do business?
Not at all in this budget.
Okay. Any questions or comments from directors to Kathleen?
Just very quickly, so 49.9, it represents salaries and benefits, right?
Correct, yes.
That's what okay.
Is there any comments from the public on this budget? Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Cesar. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, thanks, Kathleen. Next up, Michael Evans. Thanks for joining us, Michael. You're going to give us an update on progress, right, at Moynihan? Maybe you have some slides?
I am. I do have some slides.
And you've got a few resolution items. So.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Howard. I'm going to just show a few slides and answer any questions, and then I've got approval of our budget for the coming year and a couple of items as well for the directors. I think most of the directors are pretty familiar at this point with the basics of the project, so I just want to give a quick update on where we are in construction. Most importantly, you'll want to hear, we are on schedule and on budget at this time, targeted substantial completion at the end of 2020 and opening shortly thereafter. And we are, at this point, just over halfway through our construction period, with just under 2 years to go. So again, what are we trying to accomplish? We are using the Farley building to dramatically expand Penn Station to the west. When we're complete, there will be an expansion of nearly 80% of the concourse space, over 50% more elevators, and in total about 40% additional access to the platforms through stairs, escalators, and elevators, it's really substantial increase for what is the busiest transit hub in the Western Hemisphere. At this point, we have there are some larger ones in Europe and China, Japan, but. Site mobilization at this point, we've got about 150 field staff managing what is really at this point 800, in some cases closer to 900, depending on the day, union construction workers. The site is really at full bore in terms of work is happening all throughout the building, and not just now on the public work, but there's substantial ramp up now on the private work. Our developer has signed their construction contracts and is moving aggressively with their private development work at the same time. At this point, we have what we kind of term of art in the construction industry, work in place, about 57%. That's 57% of funds spent on the base contract of $1.26 billion. And that is tracking right around where we need it to be. We're averaging between $30 and $40 million a month in construction spending. And just to show you what that photo is, that's actually the 31st Street mid-block entry and being created there. And you can see the big, beautiful arched windows. That will be about a 40-foot volume of space. A pretty dramatic entry when you walk in off of 31st Street.
Postmaster's office?
This is not the postmaster's office, but it is still in the building and protected.
Oh, okay. We're going to use it for anything?
That actually is going to go back to the post office. They are keeping a portion of the space in the building when it's completed, and that will go back to them. It's part of the deal. At this point, major work that has been completed. We are through all major abatement, aside from occasional spot abatement that's identified. We're through all major demolition, again, except for some very small areas, and all major structural steel is in place. We have 10 of the 11 new platform escalators installed, not operational, but installed. They will need to be tested, and then, of course, will be turned on and open to the public when we open to the train hall. The 11th is currently being installed, so we are tracking on schedule with this, a really important piece of work of the project. Towards the end of last year, the beginning of this year, we really turned from major structural and civil work to all of the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems. We have already 35% of the mechanical systems complete, 32% completion on electrical, 40% on plumbing. All major pieces of mechanical equipment are on site and in place. So when we say the systems, we're now branching out from those big pieces of equipment, running ducts throughout the building, conduit, copper piping, all of that work. And then, of course, but towards the end of this year, doing final hookups. A big piece of work that was completed towards the end of last year with enormous cooperation, coordination with Con Edison was the new vaults and the new service into the building, and we have our new permanent power into the building, which is a big accomplishment. And our marquee skylight, I'm happy to say that the steel framing is complete. There are some final, very final welds on the vault, on the north vault on the left-hand side that are happening this week. And glass, this picture is a little old. There's actually glass that started on the first vault, and the skylight is currently tracking ahead of schedule. Before going to the look ahead of what's coming up, I guess I think it's important for the directors to know that up to this point, our big focus has been taking an extremely complicated, complex, challenging job and trying to turn it into a normal job. And I think we've been successful at that. Almost all of our critical path work at the track and platform level that requires close coordination with the railroads is complete, which means we're not dependent on Amtrak and Long Island Railroad providing track and platform outages. Once we get through the spring, that's a huge accomplishment. It was considered a major risk. The skylight, or both skylights, there's a smaller one in the mid-block. Those are at a point where all the major concerns in terms of delivery of material, installation of steel is resolved. The glass, we believe, should go pretty smoothly. It's the most straightforward piece of that project. And again, all the major unforeseen conditions we've moved past with the abatement and demolition. So now we really are into a quote-unquote normal building project, and it's about getting all of the mechanical systems hooked up and then getting all of the finishes in place. So still a lot of work to do, but work that we think we have our arms around, and we will continue to work very closely with our contractor Skanska, with our developer Vornado, and with all of our stakeholders, of course, Amtrak and Long Island Railroad being the operating railroads for the new facility.
Just as an urban landscape question, we're looking at all the buildings from Hudson Yards?
You are looking at the future full build-out to the west.
Full build-out, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, that looks great. If only we could get somebody in Washington to agree about the tunnels to get there.
Michael, have you got that worked out?
I think that's what he's doing this afternoon.
Time for a visit?
We would love to have the directors come see the project. There's really been a lot of progress since your last walkthrough.
It was really interesting when we did it last time.
Can you talk a little bit about what the, you referenced the private portion of the project. Just talk a little bit about what that's likely to be, what it will be.
Yeah, so the private component, our development deal is our private developer has a 99-year master lease that includes all of the retail around the train hall, about 100,000 square feet, and the upper floors of the building, which is about 700,000 square feet of rentable square feet in New York City terms.
Will that be office?
Commercial office, yes. They are very active.
Who's doing it?
It is being done by Vornado.
Vornado.
They are very active in the market. I think it is a sign of their bullishness that they have actually executed their own contract with Skanska to do the entire core and shell for the upper floors. They are doing substantial work, new cores for office lobbies. They are doing their own skylight in the annex to bring light down into those giant floor plates. A massive amount of work, and we gather, and that they are essentially doing on spec hundreds of millions of dollars worth of work, but feeling very good about the market and the uniqueness of this asset at this point in time in Manhattan. Massive floor plates, a horizontal campus, and a very different, to the point about Hudson Yards, a very different opportunity for a different potential type of tenant that wants something with more historic character, a horizontal campus, high ceiling heights, a little history, versus a glass and steel tower.
And great transportation.
Yes, and sitting right above.
Oh, yes.
You beat that.
And a great address.
Thanks.
All right. Well, hopefully that will convince you to go easy on me on my board items.
Now you want some money, right?
I have very first budget items. We have our operating budget, which is just over $1 million on our operating budget. The majority of that, $971,000, is salaries and fringe benefits, and then about just over $100,000 in non-personal services. That's a 2.5% increase over our budget from last year, though I'm pretty sure that every year that I've been running the project, we have underspent a little bit. So I feel confident in our budgeting on our operating cost. And in terms of our capital budget, a little bit higher number, $482 million. As I said, we're burning about $30 to $40 million on a typical month in construction alone, and then we have other design and project management costs on top of that. I think our highest construction spend in a month has been about 50, and we are tracking very closely to our original spending plan. And so again, I feel confident about this budget, which is almost identical to the year before. So I guess I'll stop
The
with
budget 19 and 20 is when? May 1st,
our budget starts April 1st.
April 1st?
Yes.
To whatever, May, March?
Yep, 31st.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So I'm assuming that the amount spent is dovetailing with the amount of work completed.
It is. We actually have a very rigorous process. As you know, we have a substantial amount of funding from the federal government, both through federal grants and through a TIFIA loan. And so we have an enormous amount of oversight from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Federal Railroad Administration, as well as from the New York State Comptroller's Office, that every month all of those entities are reviewing what we've already reviewed. We have a very detailed cost breakdown that the developer has to abide by in submitting their invoices, identifying scopes of work that they have accomplished. We have inspectors in the field that verify that that work has been done or that a material has been delivered to the site, and we pay according to that. And we're pretty strict on that.
Good.
So do you have any sense as to when the project is going to be absolutely completed?
Yeah, our targeted completion is the end of 2020.
Yeah, that's never changed, has it?
That has not changed.
That's great.
And that's when the whole thing will be open to the public and free.
That's the plan.
Yeah, no. Understood.
We'll obviously be coordinating that with, with ESD, but also with our railroad partners in terms of an exact opening day.
You went down.
Good. Very exciting.
Way to go.
Okay, that's the budget. I do have
Go through them.
Okay, I have three other items, but they're all linked, so I'll just quickly describe them. In whether it's a stadium or transportation facility, a major new development like Hudson Yards at this day and age, there is a significant digital signage component in any of these projects. We are planning for our own significant digital signage program in the Moynihan Train Hall and have been working very hard on that. Our team identified what I think is a nice opportunity in the fact that we have 3 digital screens in phase 1 of the project, which opened 2 years ago. And in working with our consultants, we found that could be an interesting opportunity to run a small pilot to kind of test the market and the players involved in this space in advance of our larger solicitation for the train hall signage program. So we have run a small competitive pilot to activate those screens for advertising and public information. And we have selected a firm called Pearl Media, who is very excited about the opportunity and is proposing a minimum annual guarantee of $1.1 million per year. Phase one, as you may recall, when it was completed by ESD, was handed over to the railroads for operation and maintenance, and that includes those digital screens. And so the MTA has been handling that. So the other agreement authorization is for us to enter into a license agreement with the MTA to use these screens for this limited pilot of a couple of years. And in exchange for that, we will take over the O&M for that period of time, which we think is fair. And we're doing this less to generate revenue and more to kind of better understand the market and see how we do. That we will generate some revenue, which will offset the O&M costs, which are estimated over about 2.5-year period at $700,000. And so we would assume the contract, which they have in place with ANC, for the operation and maintenance of those screens. ANC was the entity that installed the screens, holds the warranties, and is doing the O&M for a fixed period of time. And after that, it'll be competitively bid out. So it is a sole source assignment, but it's really those three authorizations allow us to move forward with this full pilot. We've already designated Pearl. They've walked the site. They're ready to go. Essentially, we'll sign a notice to proceed as soon as we have direction from the directors.
Where are these particular screens located?
There is one at the entry on the 33rd Street and 8th Avenue side into Phase 1. There's one above the escalators and stairs as you go down into the concourse, and then there's one at the far south end of the new concourse, lower west end
It's
concourse.
interior signage.
They're interior signs, yes.
Are they currently operational?
They are operational. They're running kind of custom content that we developed actually with Rich and the governor's office and the MTA, tourism, New York State content.
Want approval for? Do you need approval?
Yeah, he's gonna sign.
I need approval for signing a number of agreements. Yes.
Keep going, Michael, you got a few more, right?
Those are the three. Those are the three. They're all packaged together.
I
So.
move.
I second.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments? Any comments from the public?
I just want to make one quick
Yeah.
argument. This is truly regional city changing work, and congratulations. It's really phenomenal, and it'll have a huge impact on the quality of life of people, so.
Yep.
Thank you.
Way to go. Okay, is there a motion to approve? We already gone through it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thanks, Michael. Way
Go
to
to it.
Thank you, Howard.
One last question. You made an invitation to the directors. Let's see what's happening. When would be a good time?
Well,
the weather's
spring
nice.
is great. It's I think now any time now before we get to July would be great. Howard does not advise touring in August.
That was brutal. Thank you for that opportunity.
When did we do it? When did we go down there?
Probably 2 years ago.
We'll go this spring.
Yeah, let's go in May sometime.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's terrific.
All right. Great. Thanks, Michael. Okay. Moynihan's a good project, but we have to move on to more important items like the 3rd annual New York State Craft Beer Competition. So I want to give a shout out to Auburn-based Prison City Pub and Brewery's experimental beer, which is called Wham Whams. I have not had it. Maybe some of you have. It took home top honors, winning the Governor's Cup and emerging as the #1 pick among 813 entries. Auburn-based Prison City Brewery. So I want to give them a shout out. Some other items of note: there was a company, Plug Power, which is expanding in the Finger Lakes. They make alternative energy technology, and they're investing about $4 million in Eastman Business Park, creating more than 80 new jobs. They're the largest woman-owned catering and food service company in New York City, is expanding and adding 180 new jobs in the South Bronx, called Great Performances. The governor recently announced a $50 million East Side Corridor Economic Development Initiative as part of the Buffalo Billion 2 program on Buffalo's East Side, investing in 4 primary corridors in the east side of Buffalo we're excited about. And recently, the governor announced the grand opening of Tractor Supply in Herkimer County, which is a 925,000 square foot distribution center for Tractor Supply, the country's largest rural lifestyle retailer in the town of Frankfort. So we're excited about that. And ESD is leading a global trade mission among a number of sectors to Israel as we speak. So our global New York team is there with a number of New York businesses helping to open up the Israeli market. Israel is one of our largest trading partners, as many of you know. So we're excited about that. And that's all I have on the President's report. Before we begin going through the presentations from the regions, Glendon will present a summary. Glendon.
Thank you and good morning. The directors will be requested to consider 21 projects totaling $39,340 in grants. The projects include 2 Buffalo Billion Awards, 15 Regional Council Awards, and 6 discretionary awards. The projects will take place in all 10 regions, leverage over $202 million of additional investment, retain 3,307 jobs, and create 1,040 jobs in the state. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Glenn. We're going to start in Western New York. I think Amanda has maybe 4 projects. Amanda?
Hi, good morning.
Hey.
The directors first are requested to approve a grant of up to $2.5 million from the Buffalo Regional Innovation Cluster, Buffalo Billion 2, to the Village of Lancaster in Erie County for smart growth enhancements to its central business district. Lancaster and Tonawanda also being presented today are the first two of 4 recipients through the Smart Growth Community Fund for 2019. Applicants from Western New York to the statewide DRI competition are automatically eligible for funding through the Smart Growth Community Fund if they are not selected as the regional winner. The REDC reviewed the remaining municipality proposals for project readiness and impact and selected 4 winners for up to $2.5 million each. The grant to the Village of Lancaster will be used for design, engineering services, and construction to extend West Main Street within its historic central business district, restoring the right-of-way and urban fabric of the walkable neighborhood that was disrupted as part of a 1970s-era urban renewal project. As a result, there will be an improvement to traffic flow within downtown, and the new infrastructure will create buildable parcels of land for redevelopment, presenting new economic development opportunities. The directors are also being asked to make a determination of no significant impact on the environment pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Should I just go on to the next project?
Yeah, let's just go through all of them, Amanda, then we'll come back and ask questions.
Okay. Great. So the second one, the directors are being requested to also approve a grant of up to $2.5 million from the Buffalo Regional Innovation Cluster, Buffalo Billion 2, to the City of Tonawanda in Erie County for smart growth enhancements that will improve access to the city's waterfront and provide new pedestrian and recreation amenities. The grant will be used for planning, design, and construction services to transform a section of Young Street that runs parallel to Ellicott Creek in the Erie Canal into a multi-use dynamic waterfront park accessible by pedestrians, cyclists, and boaters. It will remove nearly a quarter mile of pavement, replacing it with new green space and trails that connect with the existing waterfront trail system and intermodal hub. It will also include addition of new amenities that may include a pavilion structure for programming opportunities, interpretive and wayfinding signage, and landscaping. It will result in improved connectivity between the Niagara River, Erie Canal, and Ellicott Creek, and the city of Tonawanda. It will create a sense of place and make the city's waterfront attractive as a place to live, work, and play. As a result, the project will encourage private investment in the neighboring commercial districts and help build a vibrant mixed-use corridor. The directors are also, for this project, being asked to make a determination of no significant impact on the environment pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. The third project, the directors are requested to approve a $385,000 capital grant from the Regional Council Capital Fund, CFA Round 5, to the Massachusetts Avenue project for a portion of construction and renovation costs associated with the $2.3 million project to construct a new 11,000 square foot farmhouse community food training program and resource center. MAP is a not-for-profit organization in the city of Buffalo's west side that works to grow an equitable local food source that is accessible to all youth and families of all incomes. They also train youth ages 14 to 20 in sustainable urban agriculture, food systems, microenterprise, and community leadership. They produce over 15,000 pounds of organic produce and distribute 30,000 pounds of fresh produce sourced from their farm on the west side and other local farms to over 4,000 low-income households annually. This newly built farmhouse, completed in January 2019, was constructed adjacent to MAP's urban farm and will support year-round employment and job training and increase access to healthy foods in the city. A new harvest prep area in the facility will allow MAP to expand its use of existing farms for its programs, adding at least 10 farms in the first year. It will also expand its education programming as the facility includes spaces for cooking and food preservation, as well as a conference room and community space. The project is consistent with the regional strategy to promote agriculture and employment training in Western New York. It has also brought new resources to the neighborhood and is a smart growth project making use of a previously vacant parcel of land. For this project, the directors are also being asked to make a determination of no significant impact on the environment. And the fourth project, the directors are requested to approve a $750,000 grant from the Empire State Economic Development Fund to Universal Stainless and Alloy Products for a portion of the cost of the purchase of machinery and equipment for their Dunkirk facility. The company is a producer of semi-finished and finished specialty steel long products and plate. It is headquartered in Bridgeville, Pennsylvania, and besides the plant in Dunkirk, has facilities in Titusville, Pennsylvania, and North Jackson, Ohio. They are investing $9.5 million in the Dunkirk facility to add a new standalone steel manufacturing line that supports the company's growth and allows it to remain competitive in the steel market. With the completion of this project, the company hopes to increase its market share and ability to produce new products that the previous equipment was not capable of producing. If the company had not made this capital investment in new manufacturing machinery and equipment in Dunkirk, it would have needed to reduce 100 full-time employees. Instead, the project allows it to retain all 244 employees and potentially create new full-time opportunities. Almost 100% of the employees are New York State residents that live mostly within a 15-minute radius of the facility in Dunkirk, which is a financially distressed area. The company also considered its Ohio facility for this investment, which offers an operating and financial advantage over Dunkirk, but fortunately chose this location. So that concludes my 4 projects.
Okay, great. Are there any questions or comments from directors to Amanda on either of these 4 projects?
It's a question to you.
Yep.
How do we make a determination about no significant effect on the environment?
Yeah, Amanda, talk about the process that we've gone through to say there's no impact, no significant impact.
Sure. So ESD serves as lead agency. The municipality organization pulls together sort of, we go by for the Smart Growth projects, we went by the long form that DEC puts out, so they do a preliminary review. ESD gets the information from the municipality, reviews it, and then there's additional criteria that we have to look at, and then we'll write up a determination.
Okay. Is there any of these items contentious or have opposition in any of these communities of consequence?
No. The Village of Lancaster, we're replacing, it's a large parking lot area, so we'll be introducing the new right-of-way that will restore what used to be there before this urban renewal project. So we'll actually be reducing a little bit of pavement. Tonawanda, we're reducing pavement, so adding in green space. So it's a positive impact because we'll be, less runoff, and it'll be better with the landscape there.
What we do.
And then, of course, the Massachusetts Avenue project was a vacant lot, so it's an infill project.
What we do with these sets are when Buffalo Billion 2, we did what I would describe as a competition among smaller cities and towns in Western New York to do like smaller DRIs. So, we're obviously been very committed to those place-based investments, and it was an opportunity to get more participation and more communities involved in that, which is what those first two items that Amanda went through are. So instead of like 10 million DRIs, they got like each $2.5 million. Wherever I go, Utica yesterday, Rochester this week, this issue of creating a compelling place for people continues to come up. Every business is increasingly a tech business. Whether you're a tech company or not, you're looking for, you're upgrading your technology, you're trying to figure out how to use data mining, predictive analytics, automation. It's just the demand for tech talent, regardless of the business, and the ability to recruit tech talent is difficult. And they're all looking for, they're all trying to reduce their turnover, they're all trying to increase their recruitment. And folks have lots of choices. So these downtown areas continue to come back to the forefront as things that the companies themselves want to see us invest in. It was great to be in.
Have you seen any difference? I mean, I'm always preoccupied about the loss of population and jobs in upstate New York. And it's interesting you're talking about the fact that they're trying to make their downtowns attractive.
Yeah.
Have you seen any difference in the loss of population or anything?
Well, we've had the first increase in Erie County population, I can tell you, in quite a long time, and an incredible increase, almost 20% in a young population, 18 to 34, in Western New York. But we've seen that trend elsewhere. It's just been most pronounced in Buffalo, but it's true in Rochester. It's true in other upstate cities where I think we're having, where we lost a disproportionate share of population for a long time. We're starting to get them back, keep them. We're going to launch a program where we try to reach out to expats from all these communities and try and, kind of lure them back or, make them repats, because if you have some connection to the town, you're probably more likely to move to Utica if you grew up somewhere there, if you have family or some connection or you went to school or what have you. So we are seeing a big impact. I mean, we're not Florida. We're not growing population the way some states are. I'm not saying we are, but we're trying hard to be the best, Buffalo we can be, the best Syracuse we can be, the best Rochester we can be. And, I think we're seeing a big change in the way people are thinking about downtowns and the way young people think about whether they want to live there or not. I've watched that over the last 8 years. Are there any other questions or comments for Amanda on either of these four items from directors? Any comments from the public on any of these items? Is there a motion to approve all of them? Thank you. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Thanks, Amanda. Okay, Jim Fail has one item. Jim?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, take it.
Good morning. Today, the directors are being asked to approve a $320,000 capital grant on a $3.2 million project, which involves the redevelopment of two underutilized and dilapidated buildings totaling 6,500 square feet in downtown Syracuse at 321 to 323 South Salina Street, which is a major street in the middle of our downtown. The redevelopment involves 16 residential units, the creation of a commercial space, and a restaurant. This was a Round 7 priority project. The project was completed in February of this year, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for Jim Fail on this development project? Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
Move. Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thanks, Jim. All right.
Thank you.
Allison Nowak from the Mohawk Valley has 3 items. Allison?
Good Good morning. The directors are being asked to approve a grant of up to $1 million from the Upstate Agricultural Economic Development Fund to the SUNY Research Foundation to be used for a portion of the cost of renovating and equipping a 2,400 square foot building to create the SUNY Copelskill Dairy Processing Center. This incentive was accepted in August of 2015. SUNY Copelskill is an accredited state-operated institution of higher education that has provided agricultural and technological education for more than 100 years. In addition to traditional classroom space, the SUNY Copelskill campus features an operating farm with a new equestrian center and a 200-cow dairy, a fish hatchery, USDA-inspected slaughterhouse facility, specialized laboratories, a student-run restaurant, greenhouses, and aquaculture infrastructure. As a result of there being a critical need among local farmers for dairy processing space, SUNY Copelskill renovated and equipped a 2,400 square foot building on the campus to create a dairy processing center. The facility will be used for student education, workforce training, business incubation, and will also assist regional dairy farms with dairy product development and marketing. Additionally, a variety of workshops and courses relating to production, sanitation, food safety, and processing technology will be offered through the center. The total budget for the project is $1,325,000. The project was complete in September of 2018 and set to open this year. The project is consistent with the MVREDC's strategy to strengthen and grow regional agribusiness and food systems. Okay, the second project, the directors are being asked to approve a grant of up to $1,300,000 from Round 3 of the Regional Council Capital Fund to the City of Utica to be used for a portion of the cost to separate the combined sewers in a 169-acre area, easterly portion of the city in the Bayou Creek watershed. This incentive was accepted in April of 2014. The City of Utica is one of the combined sewer overflow communities in the Northeast and Great Lakes region. EPA estimates that about 850 billion gallons of untreated wastewater and stormwater are released as combined sewer overflow each year in the United States from these older municipalities with aging sewer systems. Wet weather flows have proven to generate a substantial amount of chemical, physical, and biological stress to receiving waters. Control of wet weather flow pollution is one of the top cleanup priorities for U.S. EPA and New York State DEC. The Utica section of the Mohawk River is on the list of impaired water bodies in New York State. The city's long-term control plan, the primary method for controlling combined sewer overflows, is identified as sewer separation. Sewer separation consists of creating separate stormwater sewers and sanitary sewers so that the wet weather flow does not combine with sanitary sewage. This separation removes the wet weather flow from the sanitary sewer system and effectively reduces CSO volume. The upgrades to the City of Utica's combined sewer system were completed in accordance with New York State DEC CSO Speedies permit, which required their long-term control plan to reduce CSO volumes. This project was identified by New York State DEC as needing to be completed by 2021. Failure to upgrade the combined sewer system would have resulted in a consent order, development moratoriums, and penalties that would impact economic growth in the region. Completing the upgrades to the combined sewer system effectively reduced combined sewer overflow discharges to Bayou Creek and Mohawk River. An estimated 27 million gallon reduction of combined sewer overflow volume is anticipated. The total budget for the project is $11,516,721. The project is consistent with the MVREDC strategy to address infrastructure improvements that will result in increased economic growth in the region. Last project, the directors are being asked to approve a grant of up to $700,000 from Round 7 of the Regional Council Capital Fund to Utica College to be used for a portion of the cost of constructing and equipping a 15,000 square foot facility to house Utica College's growing construction management program. This incentive was accepted in April of 2018. Utica College is a comprehensive private institution that offers bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. UC enrolls more than 5,000 full and part-time students on campus and online. Over 40% of traditional undergraduate students are first-generation college students with significant financial and academic needs. Since 2008, 100% of construction management students at Utica College have secured employment prior to graduation. The average starting salary is $58,000. According to the Empire State chapter of the Associated Builders and Contractors, the Northeast, and in particular New York State, is facing a labor shortage that threatens construction projects vital to the economic revitalization of the area. Data from 2015 indicated that construction craft labor workforce was aging at a rate 3 times faster than it was from 1994 to 2001, and that the aging of this sector outpaced all other industries. 33% of construction workforce is of retirement age, and 11% anticipating that they will retire in the next 3 years. Utica College constructed and equipped a 15,000 square foot building on the campus to create a dedicated space on campus for the construction management program in response to the industry leaders communicating that there are not enough construction management professionals to fill their needs. The facility will allow for the program to grow with increased enrollment, which in turn supports the need for skilled craft laborers and management-level people to coordinate the workflow, both of which are critical for growing the construction and infrastructure redevelopment industry across the state. The total budget for this project is $3,543,000. The project was complete in November of 2018 and is currently fully in use by the Construction Management Program. The project is consistent with MVREDC's strategy to address the Mohawk Valley's workforce development needs. Thank you, and I'd be happy to take any questions at this time.
Okay. Thanks, Allison. Any questions on either of these 3 projects for Allison from the director? Any comments from the public on either of these? Is there a motion to approve all of it?
Do you want to approve all of them at once?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask a question on the Cobleskill Processing Center.
Sure.
You mentioned a slaughterhouse.
Yes, they have a slaughterhouse on campus.
They're building a slaughterhouse?
Nope, they built a dairy processing center. They already had a slaughterhouse on campus.
Okay, now that slaughterhouse, is it available to local area farms?
Yes, I believe so, as well as the business incubator that they have on campus. One business that utilized the incubator was Steiner's Meatpacking, so they were able to use those facilities on campus.
Boy, that's terrific.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay.
State needs more slaughterhouses, by the way.
Any other questions or comments from directors to Allison? Is there a motion to approve all 3 items? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thanks, Allison. Moving
Thank you.
to New York City, Joe Tazewell and Simone Bethune each have 1 project. Joe, are you starting?
I am, thank
All right.
you. Good morning. Directors are requested to approve a grant of $2 million for New York Biolabs to be used for the renovation and equipping of New York Biolabs' new 50,000 square foot facility located at 180 Varick Street in the Soho area of Manhattan. The $17.6 million project was designated as a New York City Regional Council priority in Round 5, since it is aligned with the Council's focus on developing a life sciences cluster in New York City. New York Biolabs is a wholly owned subsidiary of Bio Innovation Labs, a membership-based network of shared laboratory facilities that pair fully equipped and supported labs, office and event spaces with relevant programming and access to capital and industry partners. The Biolabs network now comprises Boston and Cambridge, Massachusetts, Durham, North Carolina, San Diego and San Francisco, Princeton, Philadelphia, and now New York City. In 2017, New York Biolabs entered into a partnership with NYU Langone Health, which helped to secure the 50,000 square foot space at Varick Street. This co-working facility will include over 100 rentable lab workbenches, 8 private labs, 2 common labs, 30 offices, conference rooms, event space, along with artificial intelligence, big data, and machine learning capacity. The space will have capacity for up to 30 life science startup companies, including 175 scientists and 148 administrative jobs. New York Biolabs will directly employ 7 jobs at the location. Construction on the project is projected to be complete by the end of this month. Thank you.
Okay.
So this is, it's wet lab, it's commercial wet lab
That's correct.
space. That's great. I mean, New York is way behind other regions in commercial wet lab space, so I think it's a fantastic project.
Can I ask a question? Is Biolabs, is it privately owned or is it?
It is. Yes, it is.
Totally privately owned?
Simone?
Thank you. The World Trade Center Job Creation and Retention Program, or JCRP, is a grant program created after September 11th to encourage businesses to maintain and expand operations in Lower Manhattan, as well as to attract new operations downtown south of Canal Street. The program stopped accepting new requests for incentive offers in 2015. JCRP is administered by ESD and is completely funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. Because JCRP is federally funded, the grants may not be used to attract jobs from outside New York State. Similar to ESD's typical grant programs, JCRP projects are brought to ESD's board for approval after a company has achieved the requirements of its first disbursement. The Group M JCRP project, for which we are seeking approval today, will be the last JCRP project brought to ESD's board. Grant disbursements for previously approved JCRP projects are expected to continue through 2021 based on our grant agreements with each of these companies. Any undisbursed JCRP funds remaining after 2021 will be reallocated by the Lower Manhattan Development Corporation to other uses based on HUD approval. Today, we are requesting approval of a $15 million JCRP grant for Group M based on the company's fulfillment of our grant requirements. Group M's history dates to 1998 when WPP plc created Mindshare and later acquired and formed Media Edge in 2002. Group M was formed in 2003 to oversee these media investment agencies and WPP's media interest. The company is the world's leading media investment management company, responsible for more than $113 billion in annual media investment through its agencies. Group M creates a competitive advantage for advertisers via its worldwide organization of media experts who deliver powerful insights on consumers and media platforms, trading expertise, technology solutions, TV content, sports, and more. At the time that ESD first engaged Group M in late 2012, the company employed 2,385 jobs at 3 separate offices in Midtown Manhattan. Group M was also projecting adding another 500 new jobs over the following years. The company undertook a metro location search for 1 or 2 locations to efficiently consolidate employees into fewer offices. Given the company's national and global presence of more than 100 offices, Group M considered whether work being performed in New York City could be serviced by offices outside of New York City. In order to encourage Group M to consolidate and expand its operations in New York and spur the construction of 3 World Trade Center, ESD, in partnership with New York City Economic Development Corporation, offered the company a $15 million World Trade Center Job Creation and Retention Grant. The grant offered to Group M required the relocation of the company's 2,385 Midtown Manhattan jobs to Lower Manhattan and the creation of 500 new jobs. In addition, Group M projected spending $160 million to fit out and equip the new 686,000 square foot space. The company relocated to 3 World Trade Center in 2018 and currently employs 3,425 people, exceeding the 500 job creation goal by 540 employees. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Are there any questions for Joe or Simone on either of these 2 projects from directors?
I have one question. So how does this company go about creating new jobs? Do we have any insight as to how they would go about creating new jobs?
Is this the program that's relocating down to the World Trade Center?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I believe that they're going to be using the regular hiring practices, but
Yeah, they're an advertising agency. They're one of the largest advertising media buying agencies in the world.
And
WPP, so.
yeah, they consistently have seen significant growth, and New York is a key market for them. So the growth of their business.
Regular growth.
Additional
business.
clients.
It's not something.
But they have offices
additional.
all around the world. They've got a huge presence in London, Europe, everywhere. So.
So it's part of the regular
Yeah.
business development.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there, on the JCRP program, is there a time component that they have to be in the space for a certain amount of time? I know there's a job component.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
So, I mean, my name is Glendon, by the way. They're required to sort of maintain the jobs through 2027.
Through 2027, okay.
Correct.
Perfect.
Would they get credit for moving jobs from other locations into New York, or is this creation of new jobs company-wide?
It's company-wide, and as someone mentioned, these jobs, the incentive is for New York City jobs. It's federal funds, so we can't use it to incentivize relocation of jobs from outside of New York State.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's an unusual restriction, but it was because it was really about repopulating the World Trade Center area, Lower Manhattan. Okay, any other questions for Simone or Joe or Glenn? Any comments from the public on either of these items? Is there a motion to approve both of them? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, folks, thank you very much. Donna Howell from our Southern Tier region has 3 items. Donna?
Good morning. So the first I'll be presenting is ANSCO. The directors are requested to approve a $2 million grant to Freewheeling ANSCO LLC for acquisition, construction, and addition of the former ANSCO factory in downtown Binghamton. The company will revitalize a large building, and I believe there are photos in your director's materials, in this distressed community by creating market rate apartments and commercial space to attract new viable businesses, strengthen the existing business community prospects, attract and retain talent within the workforce, and enhance the social and cultural experiences available for residents. ANSCO was awarded a $2 million Upstate Revitalization Initiative, or URI, grant to assist with the financing of this project, and it is consistent with the Southern Tier Council's plan to build the greater Binghamton innovation ecosystem through revitalization of the area's urban cores. The project will be complete this June. The second project I have for Wayfair, the directors are requested to approve a $3 million grant to Wayfair LLC for a 450-seat call center operation in Chemung County. Wayfair will conduct facility improvements to the former Corning Inc. site and purchase machinery and equipment and provide basic training to its new workforce. The company requested assistance from ESD and was awarded $3 million from the Economic Development Fund. This project is consistent with the Southern Tier Regional Plan to promote an innovative culture, and the new call center opened its doors last summer in 2018 and already has created 225 new jobs. Overall, though, the project will create 450 total new jobs. The third project is CPAC. The directors are requested to approve 2 grants totaling $435,000 for CPAC Incorporated to support growth associated with the acquisition of Placid Industries, which is a manufacturer of clutches and brakes for the transportation sector. Project costs include construction, renovation, and acquisition of machinery and equipment for an advanced machining center. CPAC was awarded a $135,000 Round 6 Regional Council grant, and then a $300,000 EDF grant, as well as an Excelsior Jobs Program tax credit valued at up to $200,000. The project is consistent with the Regional Council's plan to boost advanced manufacturing within the region, and it also supports our transportation industry cluster. The company completed the acquisition of Placid Industries and construction of the advanced machining center last December, and overall the project will retain 33 jobs as well as create 23 new jobs. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Donna. Any questions for Donna from directors on either of these 3 items? Any comments from the public on either of these? Is there a motion to approve all of them? Thank you. Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, Donna, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Kara Longworth from our Long Island Regional Office has 2 projects. Kara?
Hi, good morning, Howard. Good morning, directors. The first project, the directors are asked to approve a a grant up to $4 million for P&L development to purchase and install equipment in its manufacturing plants located in Westbury and Farmingdale, which are in Nassau County. This incentive was accepted in December of 2017. P&L Development is a family-owned company that manufactures and distributes over-the-counter pharmaceutical and healthcare products that are sold in big box and chain stores under private labels. The company has been located on Long Island since 1988, but they also have several plants in the country in Florida, California, and South Carolina. P&L needed to expand and modernize its plants to remain competitive, but citing the high cost of doing business on Long Island, PL started making plans for this expansion and to move the 600 jobs that are currently on Long Island to its South Carolina plant. P&L is the most significant manufacturer employer in Westbury, and the loss of those jobs would have been devastating to that community. Instead, with our assistance, they have committed to invest $8.4 million in equipment over the next 6 years to modernize their operations here on Long Island. They will maintain the 640 jobs they have now, and they will create 50 new jobs. The company has made the first year's investment, and they've created over 30 jobs already, thereby meeting the threshold for the first disbursement of the grant of $650,000. This project fits the Regional Council's strategy of supporting manufacturing. The Regional Council is aware of this project and has approved it. The second project for Long Island, the directors are asked to approve a $900,000 grant to the Long Island Railroad for the construction of the train station in Wyandanch, which is in Suffolk County. The Regional Council designated the Wyandanch train station a priority project in Round 6 and awarded the town of Babylon a $900,000 grant to construct an architecturally significant train station there. This incentive was accepted in March 2017. Subsequently, the town of Babylon asked the Long Island Railroad to construct the station on their behalf, and with the parties' consent and agreement, the grant was transferred to the Long Island Railroad. Since 2008, the town of Babylon has been working towards the revitalization of Wyandanch, which has been one of the most economically distressed communities on Long Island. Since Wyandanch is adjacent to the Long Island Railroad, the town from the beginning planned on building a new station that would complement the redevelopment. In 2013, the Regional Council designated Wyandanch the Opportunity Agenda area for Long Island, and it has been the focus of targeted funding since Round 1 of the Regional Council. This community has since been transformed into a vibrant, transit-oriented development with 2 completed mixed-use buildings with 177 units, most of which are affordable, and a third one is under construction now. An intermodal plaza, an ice rink, an event space, and now the completed train station complements these residential units. The Long Island Railroad recently completed the second track project that runs along the Wyandanch line, and the new station was moved to a better location so that it enhances the revitalized hamlet and is adjacent to the new commuter parking garage that was also built by the railroad. The project is complete. We broke ribbon in August 2018. The total project cost was $4.5 million, and we're now seeking disbursement of the full grant.
Okay, thanks, Kara. Kara had 2 projects. Any questions for Kara from directors?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm... Maybe, I don't think I'm conflicted on this Poughkeepsie project. Go ahead.
Okay, any other questions from directors? Any comments from the public on either of these 2 items? Is there a motion to approve both of them? Thank you, Cesar. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Hilda. All in favor?
The foundation contributes to these organizations. Does that make me conflicted?
To the Long Island Railroad?
No. Sorry, I'm reading ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Just thinking ahead.
Sorry.
Okay.
I skipped ahead and I'm following. Sorry.
Shall we pass this?
All in favor?
Okay. Sorry.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, we're going to go on to Finger Lakes. Vinny Esposito.
Good morning, Howard. Good morning, directors. Just one item for you this morning. You're being asked to approve a $400,000 capital grant for the Wayne County chapter of the New York State ARC, known as the ARC of Wayne County. to renovate a 10,500 square foot building in the town of Newark in Wayne County for a street of shops development that will include several facilities for people with disabilities to work. This project was a Regional Council Round 6 award, which was part of their opportunity agenda to provide workforce development opportunities for people throughout the region. This project was completed in October of 2018 and was a $2.4 million total renovation.
Okay, are you done, Vinny?
Yep, that's all. Any questions?
Any questions for Vinny on this item?
It's OPWDD involved in that project? Were they involved? Did they have any contribution, financial contribution?
I think that's Hilda, but I can't hear the question. I'm
yes, it is. Did OPWDD contributed to this project?
Yes, there were several other partners in the project from the community, including the Golisano Foundation, the Village of Newark, as well as a New York State Canal Corporation grant, in addition to the majority of the project, which was funded by the ARC.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Second.
Thank you. Second. Hilda, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, Vinny. Okay, the Capital Region, Mike Yevely has one item. Mike?
Good morning. We are requesting the directors approve a $500,000 Regional Council Capital Fund grant to American Dance Institute Incorporated, doing business as the Lumberyard, for a portion of the cost of construction and renovation of an abandoned lumber yard into a theater and community event space in the economically distressed village of Catskill in Greene County. The project was a CREDC Round 5 awarded priority project. The total project cost was estimated at that time to be just over $3,750,000. But in total, the organization has invested over $7 million for this project. The American Dance Institute was initially founded as a dance school in 2000. In 2011, the American Dance Institute expanded with its performance series and incubator program to help present contemporary and modern dance. This grant helped the American Dance Institute relocate their performance home from Maryland to New York State. The project centered on the main building and included the creation of a 7,000 square foot flexible use space that is a qualified production facility with a full theater that can accommodate 400 seated and 600 standing. The QPF has state-of-the-art sound equipment and accommodate musical performances, dance performances, and professional photo shoots. Additionally, the renovated, repurposed upper floors of the building into housing to accommodate up to 25 artists and residents. The entire facility is also ADA compliant. The project is consistent with the Capital Region Economic Development Council strategy in that it rehabilitates an abandoned structure into an art and entertainment venue in a downtown area of an economically distressed village. The project was completed in September 2018. Total, the organization has 14 full-time staff members, with 5 being based year-round in Catskill, 8 being based in New York City. One does split their time between the two facilities. Their main performance time frame in Catskill is in the summer. That's when their summer series happens. They spike employment there with over 35 crew members during that time. So it's a nice little infusion into the village of Catskill.
Okay. Any questions for Mike on this item? Any comments from the public on this? Is there a motion to approve? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Mike. Megan Taylor from Mid-Hudson has one project. Megan?
Hi, good morning, Howard, and good morning, directors. So this morning, we're asking the directors to approve a $300,000 Regional Council Capital Grant Fund from Round 5 for Hudson River Housing's Queen City Loft project in the city of Poughkeepsie in Dutchess County. Hudson River Housing, Inc. is a not-for-profit organization which was established in 1982 to address the emerging homeless problem in Dutchess County. HRH develops, rehabilitates, and operates emergency, transitional, and permanent housing for low-income and homeless individuals and families in Dutchess County. In addition to housing, HRH provides supportive services intended to aid residents in achieving and maintaining stable and long-term housing. Hudson River Housing's $24.3 million Queen City Loft project will create an innovative mixed-use space at 178 Main Street in the city of Poughkeepsie. The development will cater to artists with a live-work environment and includes 69 residential units, representing approximately 73,000 square feet, and 6 commercial spaces measuring approximately 12,000 square feet. The building will be LEED certified, and the project is located within walking distance of the Metro North train station and encourages foot traffic and tourism due to the proximity of retail and the visibility of the art galleries that will be located on the first floor of the building adjacent to Main Street. To date, the project is nearly complete. Expected completion is April of this year, and 196 applications have been received for the 69 residential units, and HRH has commitments for all of the commercial space from 4 separate business owners, which include a fitness facility, a grocery store, a restaurant, and a brewery. The project aligns very closely with the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Development Council's LIVE strategy, which focuses on downtown revitalization and adaptive reuse, as well as the council's PLACE strategy, as this project will contribute to enhance tourism to Poughkeepsie and to Dutchess County as a whole. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions from directors to Megan on this?
Terrific project.
Any comments from the public? Is there a motion to approve?
Move it.
Thank you. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thanks, Megan. Steve Hunt from the North Country has one item. Steve?
Yes, good morning, Howard and directors. Today I've got just the one project for you. This is a Round 5 Regional Council project. We're seeking board approval of a $350,000 grant to Agbotic, Inc. for a $7,536,000 project to construct a commercial-scale robotic greenhouse campus in Sackett's Harbor. The campus will include 6 actual physical greenhouses. This Round 5 North Country Regional Council priority project allows the company, which formed in 2014, to produce year-round organic root crops for distribution, wholesale, and retail markets throughout northern New York. The project will retain 4 and create 11 new jobs in the region. It's in alignment with the North Country's goals to invest in innovative agriculture to help feed the region and the world, and the project is on track for completion this spring. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Steve Hunt from directors? Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
Move it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Steve.
Thanks.
Simone is back up with Restore New York community items. Simone?
Thank you. The directors are being asked to approve a $500,000 Round 4 award to the City of Geneva to develop the Geneva Enterprise Development Center, which the city created out of the shell of a 250,000 square foot former manufacturing facility. Under the Restore grant, the city has renovated 15,000 square feet in an effort to bolster Geneva's role as a center of innovative food production. A 5,000 square foot innovation kitchen leased by Real Eats America was constructed and features a state-of-the-art commercial kitchen which is currently operational and offers space to food entrepreneurs. In addition, 3 commercial flex spaces have been developed in the remaining 10,000 square feet to incubate new spin-off businesses from the kitchen. The project will allow for the tenancy of an estimated 5 to 6 businesses and create up to 50 jobs over the next 5 years. Renovations to the GEDC were completed in November 2018 at a cost of $1.7 million. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Simone on this item from directors? Comments from the public? Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Simone. Kelly Baccarizo will present Market New York program. Kelly?
Yes, good morning, Howard, and to the directors. Market New York has 2 capital projects for the board's approval this month. We are requesting approval of 2 capital grants of $250,000 each that were awarded to the National Women's Hall of Fame in rounds 5 and 6 of the Regional Council Awards. The 2 grants have been combined into one overall $500,000 offer from ESD to support 2 different phases of construction and renovation for the same overall project. The National Women's Hall of Fame is located in Seneca
Falls, New York, in New York's Finger Lakes region, and it's a historic site and museum established at the location of the 1848 Women's Rights Convention. The organization will use the funds for a portion of the renovation and construction costs for the preservation work and to allow for more visitors to experience this historic site and increase tourism to the overall region. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Kelly on this from directors? Any comments from the public? Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, Kelly.
Good on you, Hilda.
Way to go. Simone has the March non-discretionary projects consent calendar. Simone.
Thank you. The directors are being asked to approve a $500,000 Assembly-sponsored local assistance award to the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. The Brooklyn Alliance is the 501c3 economic development affiliate of the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. Each year, the Alliance serves over 10,000 businesses and individuals in Brooklyn through a targeted portfolio of programs, which include business development and assistance, workforce development, health, and healthcare. This grant will support the 2019 operations of 4 Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce programs: Brooklyn Alliance Capital, Brooklyn Made, Good Help, and the Neighborhood Entrepreneurship. Activities under these programs will include provision of marketing and export assistance, ongoing certification of products, support for trade shows, and support for provision of financing to low-income minority and immigrant entrepreneurs. The project will be ongoing through 2019 with an estimated completion date in December of this year. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Simone on this item for the Brooklyn Chamber? Any comments from the public? Is there a motion to approve? Thank you. Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thanks, Simone.
Thank you.
Christine Kostopoulos has an item on the electric generation facility cessation programs. Christine.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you. The directors are being asked to approve 2 grants totaling $2.2 million to Chautauqua County and the town of Tonawanda. The grants will offset property tax losses due to the closure of the Huntley and Dunkirk electric generating facilities, which are within the jurisdictions of those municipalities. This is the 3rd year of the program, and the grants represent 60% of the property tax loss. Approval of these grants will bring the total awards to date to $26 million. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Christine on this program? Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Eric Sesser, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Christine. Brian Keel has an item regarding the Innovation Venture Capital Fund. Brian?
Good morning. Today we are seeking the approval from the directors for an investment of up to $1.25 million in Series B preferred stock for Unite Us, one of our existing portfolio companies. Founded in 2013 and headquartered in New York City, Unite Us is a healthcare software as a services company that is reinventing the delivery of health and human services. The company was initially founded with the goal of developing a software platform that empowers communities to coordinate outreach activities to better serve the needs of veterans and military families. The company is succeeding in this mission and is leveraging its experience and track record to impact the general health and human services market. The company has previously received state support through a $1.325 million investment in 2015 and a $530,000 investment in July of 2017. Since the closing of the last round of financing, Unite Us has made significant progress in growing its business beyond the military veterans market by adding significant new clients in the general health and human services market. The company is currently in late-stage discussions with several large healthcare networks regarding substantial multi-year contracts. Servicing these opportunities will require significant investment in customer care resources and headcount. In order to meet these needs, the company is raising a $35 million round of financing in the form of Series B preferred equity, led by Oak HCFT, a leading venture capital firm focused on investing in the future of healthcare and financial technology. New York State Innovation Venture Capital Fund will make an investment of up to $1.25 million into this investment round, with the balance being provided by private sector investors. As part of our due diligence process, the staff and the External Investment Review Committee evaluated the company's business plan, growth prospects, as well as the terms of the investment. As a result of this analysis, The fund staff and the IRC both agree that the market opportunity and growth potential offered by this New York State company warrants an investment from the fund and recommend its approval. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah.
Yep, Garrett.
So,
Eric.
Yes.
Two quick things. First, is the company currently profitable?
No, the company is not profitable at this point. It is investing its profits from operations into continued growth.
Yeah, that's fine. I know it was just founded in 2013. And then the second thing, explain to me kind of simply what it does. I mean, I read the description here, but I would just say, well, if I'm a consumer, if I wanted to, what is it? Can you describe kind of the service?
Sure. What it allows is multiple participants in the healthcare system, where you have the healthcare providers, you have nonprofits that provide services to folks that are homeless or in need of mental health, housing, what have you. All the nonprofits that might serve that community, plus the healthcare providers and governmental agencies, can all share the same information using this software platform, so they can coordinate the care that someone receives. They can coordinate referrals among themselves and know whether that referral was made, whether it was accepted, and whether the care was given. And collectively, you have a much greater impact on an individual's life, and that ends up resulting in good outcomes for health.
So you buy, or you obtain the software, you license the software, say,
Correct.
And then all the different licensees have access to kind of the same data.
And some have access for for free, in a sense. It's being paid for by the central provider, in this case the healthcare networks. People like Kaiser Permanente, Intermountain Health, they allow the nonprofits to be on the platform, without a fee. But it helps keep people out of the emergency rooms if they're getting housing, if they're getting health care, good education, if they're getting food. That keeps people from showing up and burdening the healthcare system.
So why hasn't the company been profitable?
It's growing faster than its profits from its existing clients can the cash flow from that can pay for it.
It's very necessary.
Yeah.
It's a fairly typical growth cycle. I mean, these are companies that are doubling and tripling. You can't double and triple it and be able to do it out of your own cash flow generally. Eventually, when you slow down, where you're growing at 20-30% a year, then the cash flow can support that.
And do they have a lot of competitors in the market providing the same services?
Not at this point. They are a unique provider in this case, and that's one of the reasons why they're poised to collect many of the top healthcare systems. They have a unique. The alternative is a listing of community providers of these services, and the hospital can hand someone who needs these services that listing. And it's very manual, and they don't know if the person sought out those services or not. It's trying to close the loop here.
So I'm assuming this is exercising pro rata rights that initial investment that you did?
Yes, it's a portion of our pro rata.
And if it's raising $35 million, what's the valuation the company's now at?
It's $175 million pre-money valuation.
Okay. And what was the Series A at?
The previous round was under 20.
Under 20? Great. Okay, thank you.
What they do is coordination of services.
Right.
Correct.
Yep.
So it's electronic medical records.
Yep.
Any other questions for Brian on this? Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
Move it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thanks, Brian. Okay, Wei Min is up and present an item relating to Global New York Loan Fund. Wei Min.
Good morning. Staff seeks authorization from the board to use $2 million of the $16 million allocated funds approved by the board on March 24, 2016 from the Global New York Loan Fund program to provide export loan capital in support of lending activities of 2 community development financial institutions in New York State. ESD will provide a zero-interest loan with a 10% loan loss reserve match for 5 years to Renaissance Economic Development Corporation and the New York Business Development Corporation, DBA Excelsior Growth Fund. In return, they would make low-cost export capital available to New York State small businesses capped at 8% interest rate for loans under $100,000. We estimate that the program will make 35 loans in the next 18 months or 2 years. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for Wei Min on this Global New York Loan Fund? Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
Move
Thank you. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thank you, Wayman. Joan Spivak has an item relating to the Life Science Initiative. Joan.
Thank you, Howard. Good morning. We're seeking the director's approval for 3 capital grants of up to $1 million each for medical schools whose applications for the New York First program were favorably reviewed during the first solicitation for applications. The application period opened on April 10 and closed on June 15 of 2018. The New York Fund for Innovation in Research and Scientific Talent, or New York First, is part of the governor's $620 million Life Science Initiative. Guidelines for New York First were approved by the board in January of 2018 and then updated and approved by the board this past January based on recommendations from the medical schools on ways to strengthen the program. New York First is designed to encourage recruitment of exceptional life science researchers from outside the state or retention of researchers in the state who are focused on translational research. Such research often leads to new patents, startup companies, and products with commercial potential. New York First grants are used to build or improve the recruited researcher's laboratory and for the purchase of mission-critical research equipment. Applications are kept competitively evaluated based on scientific merit, commercial potential, economic development benefits, and regional balance. 4 applications were received, and 3 medical schools, 2 in New York City and 1 in Rochester, were recommended to receive grants. They include Columbia University, which has recruited Dr. Jordan Orange from Baylor College of Medicine in Houston. His research had led to 5 patent applications previously. 1 additional researcher from Baylor is joining Dr. Orange, and the grant will be going towards the purchase of a $770,000 super-resolution microscope and renovation of Dr. Orange's laboratory. Columbia's total investment will be $4.4 million. Mount Sinai has recruited Dr. Julius C. Hedden from Harvard Medical School to work in their state-of-the-art Translational and Molecular Imaging Institute. He's brought 2 research coordinators and a postdoctoral fellow with him from Harvard. The funds will be applied to the purchase of part of the purchase of a $3 million MRI system, and Mount Sinai will invest a total of $11.9 million. The University of Rochester has recruited Dr. Paula Vertino from Emory University in Atlanta as Director of Translational Research at the Wilmot Cancer Institute. 3 highly accomplished research scientists from 3 other states are joining Dr. Vertino. Rochester's New York First Award will be applied to the purchase of 5 highly specialized pieces of equipment valued at more than $1 million, and Rochester's total budget over the 4-year term of the grant is $8.9 million. A total of $15 million was allocated to the New York First program. These are the first 3 grants to be made from this fund. Thank you.
Okay, any questions from directors on this initiative? Who reviews them, Joan? Like you said, if they were favorably reviewed, by whom?
We actually obtained reviewers from Wadsworth, qualified researchers who were in the fields of the research that was being done by these investigators. So they reviewed the applications, and then there were people within the Life Science Initiative who looked at it from the perspective of regional balance and economic development benefits.
Okay. And was this 3 out of 30 applications, or
3 out
roughly
of 4.
3 out of 4? Okay.
3 out of 4,
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
We're hoping for more this year.
Okay. Any other questions from directors to Joan? Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve? Thank you. Second.
I got to recuse myself from this one.
Okay. Yep, noted. You are recused.
I think it's great.
Okay. Any opposed? Did we vote all in favor? One vote?
Aye. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Simon is up next. We'll present our first admin item, revised guidelines for the use, awarding, monitoring, and reporting of procurement contracts. Simon.
Thank you, Howard, and good morning, directors. There are very few changes. I'm happy to report to ESD's procurement guidelines before you today. They are those changes that are there intended to make the guidelines simpler to follow and to obviously comply with all relevant laws. The guidelines have been amended in four respects. One is to include the provisions of Executive Order 192 issued in January this year by the governor, which requires all contractors with state entities, including ESD, to be responsible, as that term is defined in the executive order, and to remain responsible throughout the term of the contract. So that is now will be part of every contract that we enter into. Another addition is to obtain in all RFPs a statement of non-collusion by bidders. That is to say that they certify that bidders haven't got together to get an award to one or other. We have improved and strengthened the provisions relating to ethics compliance by ESD employees and officers, and to obtain some training, specific extra training with respect to the ethics requirements in procurement land. And the final issue was the board approving the ability of Howard or his designee to extend for a brief period contracts up that could be extended by up to 3 months without requiring the contract to come back before you for a brief extension. It's designed essentially to deal with the situation that has arisen where contracts expired and a new RFP was issued, but the RFP process took longer than the entity at ESD that was proposing the extension, and therefore we were in jeopardy of losing existing contractors. That's about it, Howard.
Okay, any questions for Simon on any of these guidelines? Does anything impact the directors if we approve this? Our board meeting's going to get twice as long or anything else?
The idea actually, Howard, was to shorten the...
There we go.
Okay, I approve.
I move.
I thought that might get you.
No, I was just kidding.
I move.
All right, sorry. Any comments from the public? I can't even remember how to run a board meeting anymore. Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
I move.
Thank you. Second. All in favor?
I'm not ever going to not move
Okay.
anything that's signed.
Thank you. Thank you, Simon. Okay, Jonathan Byers up, and he will present property disposition guidelines. Jonathan.
Thank you and good morning. The Public Authorities Law requires the adoption of guidelines with respect to property disposition, and the law also requires that these guidelines must be annually reviewed and approved by the corporation. Since 2006, the corporation has adopted and implemented the guidelines, which effectively incorporate all requirements of the Act. These guidelines, without change since last year, are now proposed for readoption by the corporation. Substantively, the main focus of the guidelines is to require disposition of property at no less than fair market value, as determined after publicly advertising for bids. If this requirement is not met, the guidelines impose multiple conditions depending upon the type of project. This time, I am requesting the directors to readopt the guidelines attached to your materials, appoint the Vice President of Contracts Administration as the contracting officer for purposes of the guidelines, and to authorize the taking of any related actions.
Okay, any questions from directors on this item from Jonathan? Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Jonathan, thank you. I believe our last item is Sue Kang, who has an item relating to environmental consulting services. Sue.
Thank you. Good morning. The directors are requested to authorize a contract amendment with AKRF to continue to provide environmental consulting services for the Bronx Psychiatric Center Land Use Improvement Project. In March 2015, the directors authorized entering into a contract with AKRF to prepare an environmental impact statement, or EIS, in compliance with the State Environmental Quality Review Act for the disposition and redevelopment of portions of the Bronx Psychiatric Center. The directors subsequently approved contract amendments in October 2016 and June 2018 to cover additional expenses and time needed to complete the EIS. The proposed contract amendment is needed to cover further expenses related to completing the draft and final EIS and to extend the contract term. Due to ongoing extensive agency comments on the EIS, there have been a number of changes in ACARF scope and additional work items, including ongoing coordination with agencies, including the New York City Department of Transportation, to address comments on the transportation analysis, additional transportation analysis, reevaluation of traffic mitigation measures, and chapter revisions, and anticipated additional efforts to respond to further rounds of comments from DOT and other agencies. For these reasons, staff recommends a one-year extension of the contract and an amendment in the amount of $250,000, including contingency, bringing the total contract amount to $2.33 million. The contract will continue to be funded entirely from an impressed account funded by the developer. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions for Sue on this from directors? Any comments from the public? Is there a motion to approve? Thank you. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Now, before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I want to go back because I was remiss earlier in not recognizing Arnie Will, who's been serving ESD for 37 years on his retirement. I know he's not on the line any longer, but Arnie did a great job. 37 years with ESD is an impressive accomplishment. He did a fabulous job serving the Capital Region. At different times, he's been acting director. He's a good man, and he's did a great job, and I'm proud to have worked with him for my 4 years here. And I hope he has at least 37 or more years of health and happiness in retirement. So, is there a motion to adjourn?
Oh.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.